Alright, so we've been living in our bus for about 2.5 years now, and we've been promising a tour for the whole time.
So we thought this week's episode would be a good opportunity to show you guys around our home on wheels. So our home on wheels is a 2004 Toyota Coaster.
It's a long wheelbase manual, and it's also a turbo, and in a previous life it was a tourist vehicle, but we can chat about that at the end of the video.
So originally the passenger seat used to be where I'm sitting at the moment, but because it had all of this dead space up the front, we decided to shift the seat forward, which had to be recertified by an engineer. And as part of the certification, we also had to get a seatbelt put in. So when the passenger seat was here, it just had like a waist belt. But because it needs an over-the-shoulder belt, we had to get a child seat safety specialist to install this seatbelt.
And one other thing that you can notice from this angle is this window and that window looks different, and all the windows in the back of the bus from the driver's area have a 95% UV tinting, and it's not legal in the front, so that's why there's a massive difference between our windows. But that's a huge factor in keeping the heat out.
So another reason why we wanted the passenger seat to be shifted forward was so that we could have an L-shaped lounge. Because when we were still in the planning stages of what we wanted the layout of the bus to be, we pretty much were just focusing on having enough storage.
Just thinking we're going to be living in it for at least a year at that time. We want to have everything that we would want to have to cook with, a lot of our clothes. So we were thinking, how can we fit it into the bus without the bus feeling overpacked or claustrophobic?
I feel like we're both very minimal people as well. So when we were designing the bus, we were like, how can we make sure it doesn't look cluttered, and there's like a lot of compartments and places where we can put things, but also like where for like drawers and stuff, we wanted them to be really deep.
For my job that I was working in Sydney, I learned how to 3D model. So we modeled the bus, and we actually did 7 different iterations before we picked the one we built, and that just allowed us to visualize how we would be in the space. So I guess the main thing that we learned from that was, and from looking at a bunch of other buses and other vehicles that people were living in, we thought we'd build the whole design around the idea of having 2 separate sections, one being the living space and the bed space, being separated by the kitchen and pantry and fridge. And that was so that if we ever wanted to have our own separate, like say Clara was reading and I was on the laptop or vice versa, we can have our own spaces to do our own things.
And we've actually had a few friends come and stay in the bus with us as well. So the most amount of people we've had sleeping here is 4, but our old housemate came and she just slept like along this part of the couch for like 5 nights or something.
She fits perfectly this way.
I fit this way as well.
Oh, nice.
But this is a very comfy couch to sleep on.
One of the probably toughest things to build was the table. So we decided that the best thing to have would be a swivel table so that we could change it depending on who was in the bus and how we were using the couch. So it actually moves around and you can rotate everything depending on what you're doing, which we love. It's so good.
Yeah, and if there are a lot of people in the bus and this is just taking up too much space, we can actually take it like out of the piping that Adam's designed and like put it down the front or something. Another thing about the L-shaped lounge, which we kind of already briefly touched on, is just how much storage space is underneath here. So pretty much under where I'm sitting, we've got like 3 boxes of shoes. Under this section, we've got like a bag of different games, like our hiking day packs, picnic rug, all of our
laundry detergent and soap and
all of our Zero Co stuff. Underneath Adam is where our portable toilet lives.
Under here's the battery box, and we have a 200 amp hour battery, which is fully, it never really drops below 80% unless it's very cloudy and we're not moving too much, but that's pretty rare. And everything in the bus is 12 volt, including our 12 volt fridge. And under this box is our 2000 watt inverter, and that just charges all of our our laptop, our drone batteries. We don't actually use it that often.
We sometimes use it to power some of our kitchen appliances. So we have like a food processor, a blender, like a hand stick blender. So we sometimes use it. And there's another late addition to the bus, which you were really proud of.
Oh yeah. When we left on our lap, we did 3 months in Tassie, and we were making our way west when we got back to the mainland, thinking we're only going to do about 6 weeks in Victoria. We ended up being there for 6 months, which meant we were there during winter. And it got pretty cold. Clara was teaching in rural Victoria in winter.
So it was even colder.
It was freezing. So we decided to install a diesel heater. It arrived and everything was in Chinese, and I just went to YouTube to watch how other people installed it. It came with a little 10 litre, like a plastic tank that everyone online was saying it'll disintegrate from the diesel over time. And they also said the best thing to do is to connect it to your actual fuel line for the bus. So I installed it, and then I was underneath the bus cutting the fuel line and connecting everything up. And then when I went to pick Claire up from school that day, I wasn't sure if when I turned the bus off if it was going to start again. And it did, and it still works. And the diesel heater's amazing. We don't really use it too often, but
we turn it on, and pretty much after like 10-15 minutes we have to turn it off because the whole bus is so warm.
Not sweating, but
it gets toasty.
It's pretty hot.
Yeah.
So it's a luxury that we don't really often use, but when we do, we love it.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I don't fit in the bus. I'm way too tall for it, and it actually got to the point where my neck and back was getting really tight and sore. So I went and saw a chiro, and he said that when I cook, I should stand like this, which is actually really good.
I feel like your posture's amazing.
Yeah.
Since we've moved into the bus.
Being in a space where I don't fit in it means that when I'm outside of the bus, I'm always really straight. So it's like a blessing and a curse. But for that reason, Clara will do this part of the tour and I'll sit back and watch.
I'm such a good height for the bus. Sometimes I forget and I like jump from excitement and hit my head against the roof, but I've still got a little bit of space, which is good. So our fridge is a 190 litre Bushman fridge. So we've got the freezer compartment up the top, and we've got the fridge section down the bottom. This is our pantry. So it's quite big. They're very deep sections. So it's pretty much like up to my armpit.
We love food.
We love food, and because of our dietary requirements, when we go into remote areas and if there's no Woolies or Coles, we just really have to stock up. So yeah, this is usually like jam-packed when we head away to remote areas. we've got that additional pantry space down at the couch, and I'll show you where we keep some of our other food as well. Back here we have our full-length wardrobe. So it's really nice having this hanging space, especially during like cooler weather when we just want to grab our puffer jacket or another layer or something. So yeah, it's just like jackets, shirts, and some of my teaching clothes, just in case if I can pick up any casual days. And then below our clothes is where we keep our laundry. So I feel like that's something that's not often spoken about, is like where people keep their laundry or their bins. So that's a really handy space. And down below here is where we keep our canned goods. So we can fit a lot under there for when we go away to remote places. Back here, this is where we keep our bins. We've got a recycling bin and just our regular rubbish bin. So these both fit under our kitchen sink. And because they're quite big, it means that we can actually go for a few days without having to worry about emptying our rubbish, which is really, really useful, especially again when you're in remote places and there may not be bins available. That's a really, really great thing to have. So we have a really big, deep sink, which just makes washing up super easy. Probably one of my favorite features of the bus is our Thetford oven. It has a 3-burner stovetop, the oven and grill below. Yeah, this is so incredible to have in the bus because, yeah, I just feel like it really helps to make this space really feel like a home. We pretty much would always use an oven back home, so yeah, this investment was a no-brainer for us.
The fact that we can put one in the bus as well was so mind-blowing when we started designing the bus.
Yeah. Well, like, it feels wrong to be able to light something.
Bake stuff in a vehicle.
Yeah. But no, if you're tossing up whether or not to include an oven, we can't recommend it enough. The amount of people we travel with and they're like, oh my gosh, like that's something I really miss. It's, yeah, definitely worth getting.
An oven.
So with our kitchen drawers, it's so satisfying that like we've designed it to be able to open to pretty much the width of the aisle, because it means that, yeah, we get a lot of space in here. So this is all just like our cutlery stuff. We have a drawer for like teas and containers. This is all like plates and bowls. And then down the bottom is more like baking trays and stuff like that. So we were quite surprised when we moved from our unit in Sydney into the bus. Sure, there was quite a bit of culling and, you know, stuff involved, but a lot of our kitchen stuff we were able to move into the bus and easily find a place for them. So yeah, everything we need is in here.
Yeah, we pretty much, the main things we got rid of out of the unit that we couldn't bring into the bus, like our dining table, our fridge, everything else pretty much found a place. And if it didn't find a place, we didn't really need it.
Yeah. Something that
we would 100% include in any build we do forever.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best things that we've put in the bus.
It's the Max fan. It's just, yeah, ours is pretty much constantly on, like we rarely ever turn it off. And there's a setting which you can change from having like the air coming in from the outside and then flushing the hot air from the bus to the outside. And yeah, it just helps so much to cool down the bus.
The only time we turn off is to clean it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, love this fan. It's great as a kitchen fan. And then we also have 2 Sirocco fans. So we have one just above the lounge area and we have one at the end of our bed as well, which really helps to circulate the bus. Down the back here, so this little section, again, it's quite deep. This is all of our toiletry stuff, and down here is a lot of our cleaning stuff. Down the back here, we have our clothes drawers. So as you can see, they're quite big. And yeah, we've just got like packing cubes in each of the drawers. So as well as the clothes that are in these drawers in the wardrobe, we've got some stored underneath the bed, and we've also got some jumpers in compartments that run down the side of the bed, which Adam will show you in a bit. That's all about clothes. And yeah, similar to what Adam was saying earlier, there's actually more space in there. But I feel like every 3 to 6 months we kind of look at all of our stuff and we're like, we haven't worn that. We haven't even looked at that in a few months. So like, what can we donate? What can we, you know, give to someone? So yeah, lots of space in there, which is good.
So this is our bed. We have a north to south bed as opposed to east to west, which is when it runs side to side. Our one runs from the back to the front of the bus, and it's a queen because we're both freakily large humans.
Freakily?
Well, you are. So yeah, we're both above average height, and when we're designing the bus, like, sleep comes before everything, and yeah, we were not going to sacrifice our sleep for more space, which is why we ended up putting the shower outside. And yeah, having a queen bed, we love this bed. It's the most comfortable bed we've ever had.
It's an Ecosa mattress.
Yeah, Ecosa mattress.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and above the bed we have a skylight, so this thing can open up, and that's actually how we access the top of the bus if we want to get the surfboards or the ladder down for window cleaning, or if we want to clean the solar panels.
It's really nice having that airflow coming in at night as well.
Yeah, we can open it up fully or a crack, or leave it completely closed, and it changes how much airflow comes into the bus. So yeah, we have the option to leave it fully open, and that's how we get out, or it has a fly screen on one side or a block out on the other, and it makes a massive difference to the space. We also have windows on the passenger side of the bus, which we can open at night for a bit of airflow, and that also just creates a bit of cross ventilation. Down here is more compartments where we store bedding and towels and jumpers. We've got a few like books and random bits in the back, and yeah, one of the things that I really wanted when we designed the bus was a bookshelf, and from a lot of the research we were doing, people were saying that in a coaster, the hardest part to build is the back, because of the curve. The curve's really weird, so we thought that was the most natural place to put the bookshelf, and to counteract the curve we just put the small books towards the edges and then the big books in the middle, and it's just got a bit of bendy ply at the back, so it looks quite clean. So these are the blinds that we have in the bus. We got the design off a family in a coaster in New Zealand, so we can link that in the description. They're pretty amazing. They're hidden behind this bit of paneling here, and there's a hook which we just unlatch, and then the blinds come down. They have a bit of magnet on the side so they can stick to the metal or to each other, and if you were standing outside at night when we had the lights on, they block out so much that you wouldn't even know that there was anyone inside. And then to put them back up, all you have to do is roll them and then latch them. Yeah, and they tuck away. So at the back of our bed, underneath the bookshelf, we have a reading light. That's really good at night when we don't want to have the whole bus illuminated, but we still want to read our books in bed. And we also have 2 USB ports down the back, which we rarely ever use. One of them charges the light, which is a USB powered light. And yeah, I think that's maybe our Kindles occasionally, but we try to charge most things down the front of the bus so they're away from the bed.
So we've also got some shelves just above our kitchen sink. Yeah, these are really handy just for like salt and pepper. Have some cups and mugs and other bits up here like wallets, sunglasses. Yeah, originally when we were designing this, I was like so excited to have jars and all different things lined up. But then once we actually started moving in, I was like, oh, no jars can fit up here. But actually really happy with like how it turned out and what we can include up here, because all this stuff is just so easy to grab and go. So yeah.
I forgot to mention that we have 2 solar panels and they're both 200 watts. They do an amazing job of charging up our 200 amp hour battery. We don't really use a lot of power. We don't draw a lot. We mainly just charge our laptop and camera and phones. Other than that, we don't use the inverter for cooking or anything because we have a gas oven. When we were researching the design, we found that a lot of people use timber paneling on the ceiling, and we found that that felt quite heavy in the space and it drew your eye upwards. So we ended up deciding to use 3mm bendy ply, and that just makes the space feel so much more open. So we also have in our ceiling 6 lights down the front. They're amazing. They have 3 main settings, so you have 25%, 50% and 100% brightness. But you can also change it in 5% increments, and if we're watching a movie or something, we turn it down really low, and it's awesome because we also have a projector, and that's really fun to set up when the lights are low. Down the front, we have our charging areas. So other than up the 2 USB ports up by the bed, we also have 2 USB ports down here. We find nowadays that everything's USB-C. It can be a bit of a limitation, so we often charge things through the laptop, but other than that, it's actually really handy to have that there. We also have 2 USB ports in our control panel, which is down by the door, which controls our fridge, our lights, our 2 12-volt fans on the side of the bus, and our water. Because we both didn't have any experience with electronics or installing 12-volt electrical systems, we did a lot of research before we started putting everything in. And the biggest lesson that we learned was one of the guys that we're following on YouTube, who was really handy with everything we were doing, he had a few links to a few parts, which we bought a couple of them. And one of them was like a $7 part off Amazon. And for the first 3 months, our battery wasn't charging properly and we couldn't figure out why. We ended up taking it to a 12-volt auto electrician, and he suggested that before he actually has a look at everything, because everything sounded fine from what we were telling him, he said it's probably a connection between the solar and the battery. So we looked at the part that we bought online, and that was the issue. And he sold us, I guess, a better version of it, a higher quality version of it, which was like $12. So it's funny how little things like that can make such a big difference, and we've not had any issues since, and we're so happy with that. That was the biggest weight lifted off us when that happened. Yeah, so basically this is everything that we fit underneath the bed, or what we call the garage. It's quite a lot of stuff. It always surprises us whenever we pull it out. So we keep our hiking bags in the back left corner above the wheel arch.
The wheel arch.
And then our dress-up box for festivals.
Because you never know.
We keep above our right wheel arch, because that's a tricky space to put things. It's also tricky to get to, and we don't really use those things too often. And then everything else fits in the main kind of chamber, and then
that we access quite often.
Yeah,
just that space under the bed can fit so much stuff, and I feel like it's quite deceiving, like when you look at that and then when you see everything laid out, it's like, okay, yeah, no, that's quite a large space,
which is nice because then it frees up a lot of space in the actual bus. So it means we have a lot less clutter.
Yeah.
And then this is the inside.
Hello. Welcome to our garage. So this is our hot water system, And this is our outdoor shower box, which is lockable, which is awesome. So we've got hot and cold. There's an attachment here, which is great for rinsing off your feet after the beach. And we were tossing up between whether to have an indoor bathroom with a shower and toilet, but we decided that we'd opt for an outdoor shower, and we're really happy with our choice. We never feel like we're missing out by not having an indoor bathroom. And yeah, there's nothing that beats having a shower outside under the stars. And this is something that I really love about our shower awning, is this Velcro attachment, which is for the shower head. And this is really good too. We can pop our like body wash and stuff up there, and shampoos and conditioner. This is our outdoor shower setup.
So on this side of the bus, as well as our shower and our hot water system, we have two 60-litre freshwater tanks, which are underneath the bottom of the bus. And then just here we have our freshwater inlet, which has a lockable lid. And we have a 12-volt fan behind the fridge as well, which sucks all the hot air out. And that is the best thing on a hot day, because we have one on the other side as well. And if it's like 40 degrees, it makes it quite manageable. So yeah, we love that we've put that in. So at the back of the passenger side, we have our 2 4-kilogram gas bottle box, which vents to the outside, and it's also lockable. That's what it looks like inside. And one of the best things about when we installed it was, well, it's not the best thing, but I guess it made the most of a bad situation. Someone had scraped the side of the bus and left a mark. You can see kind of the edge of it. And when we put the gas bottle box in, it actually pulled all the metal out. So it's actually kind of looks back to normal now, because it's built for a Toyota Coaster. So it has the curves in here. And this is our 12-volt fan behind the oven.
Hi.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're really happy about is our fly screens. Normally you can get like a fly screen that's built for a Toyota Coaster, but they're really ugly. So we just went to Bunnings, found some adhesive magnets, and yeah, some fly screen, and they've done the job. They're amazing. You kind of can't even tell they're there. And they do such a good job of keeping the flies out.
As we mentioned toward the beginning of the video, Tourist was previously a tourist vehicle, hence where the bus got its name from. And we came across the bus through my mum's old work. So mum used to work for a Japanese tour guide company. And fun fact, when I was young, like primary school age, mum used to drive these buses around as part of her job. So sometimes during school holidays, if no one else could look after me, I just go along with mum to work and ride in the Toyota coasters with her. So yeah, it was kind of like a bit of a full circle. How, you know, this bus came into our lives at the right moment. Yeah, and it just happened to be that her boss at the time was selling one of his Toyota coasters in his fleet because of COVID. So yeah, we got very lucky.
Yeah, we paid $21,000 for the bus. It had about 380,000 kilometers on it, but he was the only owner, and he took such great care of it. Every mechanic we took it to when we bought it to get things certified or to get things checked just kept saying like it's in such great condition. So that was really nice to hear.
Yeah, the seats that we pulled out of the bus, we were just going to go take them to a tip, but then we thought, let's just put them on Gumtree or Marketplace or something and just see if anyone wants them. And we ended up selling them a day later for $500. And the man that bought the seats said, like, pretty much anything you rip out of your bus, can you please give it to me? So like the wall, the roof lining, like
Everything, every single little thing.
Yeah, all like the emergency plaques and everything. He took everything, so we actually didn't even have to do a trip to the tip.
We didn't put anything in the bin.
Yeah.
It was the best outcome we could have thought.
Yeah, it was
possible.
amazing.
So yeah, thanks for watching our tour. We hope it was interesting And hopefully, if you're planning to build something in the future inspiring or informative, or what it looks like to live inside a Toyota Coaster, because one of the things we love about meeting other people on the road in coasters is how every single bus that you see is different, and it reflects the people who live in it, their personality, and we love it. It's so cool. No space is the same. And yeah, we just can't believe that we get to wake up in different spots in Australia every single day in this thing which we love. It's a very fun lifestyle.
Yeah, let us know if you have any questions in the comments below. And yeah, we're always more than happy to chat. So ask away.
Thanks for watching.